Good evening and welcome to our Music in March concert. I'm Kim Cipriani, if I haven't gotten the chance to meet you guys yet, and this is our high school chorale. That first song was a Native American song that was arranged beautifully by Roger Emerson and played beautifully by Desiree. Another applause for Desiree. All right, this next piece was actually one that 4 of our students performed with the OMEA Honors Choir last November at Cleveland State. El cielo canta alegría. Spent a lot of time learning Spanish, but they give a wave. Kaylee, Sanel, Nassan Bruce, Izzy Santiago, and Desiree Gales were all a part of that event. So they came back and helped teach the parts to their sections. So here we go with, and the translation, that heaven is singing joyfully is what the translation is. All right, this one is God Help the Outcast from one of my absolute favorite Disney films, Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's our Disney contribution to the evening. And we have a featured soloist of Julia Gill. couple of our percussionists here, Shariah Gales and Alex Hernandez, or Angel, sorry, Hernandez. That's a totally different person. They're going to join us for our accompaniment of. All right, this next piece, Keep Your Lamps Trimmed and Burning, is a traditional spiritual. It has a little Argentinian flair to it. Argentinian? How do you say that? It's Argentinian flair to it. All righty. And a big round of applause for Mrs. Bindis over here. Thank you so much for being here with us. All right, we're going to go ahead and have a quick switch over, get the band up here. And so just chill, relax, and we'll have it done in a second.
Okay, good evening. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being patient. A little scene change. Behind me is the high school concert band, and I just have to say it's exciting to have this event. Everybody seated in the auditorium. We had our musical a few weeks ago, and it's just nice to get back to normal. Have people in the building and listening to music and people on stage playing it. So we're really excited about that. I don't know anyone that would schedule a concert 2 days before the band leaves for Disney and a week and a half after the musical closes, but we're a busy group here in the music department, so I'm really proud of how well the concert band has done putting together tonight's performance. And without further ado, we're going to check out the first tune. So this is a very unique march, okay? And when you listen to performances of it, it's almost the anti-march. Usually a march starts and it has this rousing introduction, and then they introduce a theme, and it's big and boisterous, and there's cymbals crashing and bass drums and snares, and then they repeat that theme, and then they go into the second section of it, or the third section of it, called the trio, and it's a little softer. Yeah, okay. And then they do a rousing conclusion, and everything's big and brassy and loud at the end. You know, every march, 99.9% of the marches you've ever heard, it's that. Okay, well, this is a little bit different. This is the anti-march, and I love, if you read the program notes in the program, that the way that Sousa intended this to be is someone's walking along the beach, the Manhattan beach, and he can hear the band from afar. And so it starts off quietly because this person is walking along the beach. And as he gets closer to the festival and closer to the gazebo where the band is playing, the band gradually gets louder and louder, until he's there and he's in amongst the festive summer people in that area off the beach, and everybody's there for this joyous time together. And then he continues walking on along the beach, and it gets quieter. So it doesn't have a rousing big beginning, and it doesn't have a rousing big ending, because the dude just walked by. So pretty cool. I just think that it's very unique. And you're going to also hear, as this person is walking down the beach to the concert, moments where there's surges in the waves crashing, all that kind of stuff. When you read about it, it's one of the most unique things. So without further ado, this is John Philip Sousa's Manhattan Beach. That's one of those ones when it ends, it's like, is that really the ending of the march? You know? All right. So this next tune is definitely a favorite. And just a crazy thing that really happened in American history where you had some Union troops that go and steal a train from the Confederacy during the Civil War era. And they get this train going. And once the Confederate troops realize that this train has been stolen, they take chase. And they're on horses and they're running along and they actually chase it for miles, hoping to get back onto this train. And obviously you're not going to keep up and the train kind of takes off and they're able to commandeer another train and catch up to the train that was stolen. And in that process, they get close enough where they can leap from one train to the next train and then take it back by force. So it's just kind of a crazy thing. I know that there's movies that have been made about it, but in the process of this, there's a number of solos and a number of things you're going to hear, whether it's the flutes that sound like the train whistle, or we actually have our very own person playing a train whistle, along with a number of other things. You hear the track, you hear all kinds of different stuff going on. So the whole idea is that this train is being stolen and we're going to bring it back. So the great locomotive chase. So as you can see in your program, it actually says for our portion of the program, concert and contest music. And during this time of year, bands go to contests for OMEA, large group adjudication, and I know it's kind of changed a little bit with COVID and everything, but obviously on a Disney year, it gets a little crazy to throw that on top of things with all the things that we've been doing over the course of the last month. But the way that we've set up our program and the way that I usually set up the March concert is kind of geared towards that type of format. So typically when you go to contests, you would take a march. Okay, we already played the Manhattan Beach March. You would have a selection that is on a list of particular music that you can pick from based on the class that you go. And you would also have a director's selection. So the director's selection would be the Great Locomotive Chase. And this next tune is a classic for concert band. It's one of those ones that, you know, it's like everybody should play this. You know, there are certain tunes out there that everyone should get a taste of and have the opportunity to play. Some of the whole suites for concert band, you know, John Philip Sousa marches, obviously, you know, the Stars and Stripes Forever. In the spring and May, we're going to be doing America the Beautiful. So there's a list of things that we should do, and usually from that list that OMEA puts out, those are the things that are on that list. And this is kind of cool because right around, I don't know, Christmas time, my dad was like, you know, it's probably a good year to do dedicatory. So like the next day I got it out and passed it out to the kids. And I can remember actually playing this tune when I was in high school. And it was dedicated to a school that was going to be premiering a fine arts building. And so there's a huge portion of this tune that is based on the alma mater of that school, which I think is really neat. And it's this slow movement in the middle. One thing I want you to notice, there's a number of soloists, and some of the things that are going on inside of the tune itself are just unbelievable, where there's just all this rhythmic stuff, interplay, and solos, and changing meters, and the way that the percussion section is part of the, you know, part of the group, and we're leaning off of that, or feeding off of them, and they're feeding off of us. It's just amazing the way it's written. And one of my favorite tunes, this is Dedicatory Overture. That's the tune that gives me the opportunity to kind of nerd out as a band director, you know. I know it was not their favorite, you know, they're kind of like, dedicatory overture. Oh, God. Don't write it on the board, Sullivan. Don't. Oh, he wrote it on the board. We're playing it last, though, so maybe we won't get to it. So, but it's one of those ones. You know, everyone needs to have the opportunity to play that. We had our booster meeting last night at 7 o'clock in the choir room. We have them on the fourth Tuesday of every month. Now, last night was the third Tuesday, but we're on spring break next week. So check your calendars. We'd love to have people come out. We have some incentives. I know we've been doing some raffles and that kind of thing. But please definitely come out to our meetings on the fourth Tuesday, 7 o'clock choir room. We have one in April. We have one in May. And we'd love to see you there. Love to see some new faces. That does not mean that you are signing your life away to be a part of the group. It's a great fellowship of people that come together, some good friendships there. And, you know, it's just a laid-back, chill of a time. And, you know, really you can check in on what's going on with the music department. You know, I know that occasionally people are like, oh, there's a concert tomorrow? For real? Yeah. Okay, so being at some of these meetings would definitely help with that. I'd like to just point out one of the things that we talked about at the meeting last night is, you know, we thanked everybody that was involved with our musical. And, you know, I don't know if everyone necessarily realizes, but in Northeast Ohio, for the school that we have, the size of our school, to put on the production that we do every year, it is unbelievable. You know, I heard from people that attended other shows at other schools where, you know, they have a canned show, so there's not a live pit. You know, they just press play, and the kids basically karaoke the show. You know, and that's at schools that are far larger than ours. Some of the people that I work with, you know, they play in pit orchestras, and they said, yeah, they did this other show, and it was all professionals. You know, so yeah, the students were singing on stage, but the entire pit orchestra was made up of professional musicians that were hired to come in and play. You know, and, you know, for us to make all the sets and paint all the sets and design the stage and all the lighting that's involved and the pit orchestra playing all the music and the kids singing and acting and dancing and doing all that they do, it is unbelievable that, that we have that and that it has become such a huge tradition in our district. And to just show my appreciation and to give you a perspective, if you were on stage right now and you were in any way associated with this year's musical, if you're a drummer and you're standing, you can go ahead and raise your hand, but or stand up and raise your hand. Anybody that was involved in the musical, whether it was cast, pit, crew, if you worked on the program in another class, you know, I know that was part of our project as well. Go ahead and stand up and be recognized. If you were out there, I know that we have some choir kids that stood as well, and if you were a parent that, remain standing. If you were a parent that volunteered your time, or a relative that volunteered your time, a friend that volunteered time on that weekend, go ahead and stand up and be recognized. You know, as soon as it gets done, you know, everyone's always like, what are we doing next? We honestly don't know. We're just kind of basking in getting through the show and enjoying it and having a great time. And as many people came out to see it, it was awesome. It was a blessing. Let's have one more round of applause for all these people that have done this. It's amazing. I'd also like to recognize, because this happened after our Christmas concert, and this is the first time they've really been together since December. There are a number of students that participated in OMEA Solo Ensemble this year, and last year it was all recorded and we submitted everything virtually, and this year we were live and in person in North Ridgeville. And it was a great day. It was a cold day, but it was a great day to get out and for kids to perform in front of a judge and have their families come and see them. And all of the students from Brooklyn that participated received excellent and superior ratings. And so I'm going to have them stand and be recognized. If you were involved with solo ensemble, please stand up. All right, thank you so much. When it comes to the booster group, I know that Gwen Childers, our president this year, is basically, you know, one of the most frequent calls that I make. You know, we communicate weekly, whether by email, by phone call. Occasionally those phone calls are on like a Saturday evening at 10:30 at night. You know, it's like, hey, you know, we got this coming up. But you know, to have such a supportive cast in that group of people helping us, it's just a real blessing. And I know that when students attend the booster meetings, that's one of the first things that they say is that they're just so appreciative of all the things that the boosters provide for us. Whether that's feeding people in between the matinee and the evening performance, or on the long day of rehearsal that we have for the musical, or the marching band after the halftime show, including the other band. And then obviously all these kids on stage, they've been fitted in the attire that they're wearing. Some of them have been refitted. And then we thought it's probably a good idea to refit anyone in their marching uniform that may have grown a foot or two since October. And so, right, like the day after the musical, we had a rehearsal and fit kids for that too as well. And so just so many things going on behind the scenes to make everything possible. You know, you don't just put a bunch of kids on a bus and send them down to Orlando. We've been rehearsing since like December, you know, putting some of this stuff together. And that all does not happen without the support of our booster group. So I'd like to have the officers in our booster group stand and be recognized when I call her name. Gwen Childers, if she could stand up. Mrs. Childers is our booster president this year. Our vice president is Kathy Lolotis, if she could stand up. Kathy, right down here. Our treasurer is Randy Becky. Randy's still on out there. And our secretary is Jill Sinal. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do and all that you're about to do in the next few weeks. We do have a lot of important things coming up. If you haven't received information from me about next year, make sure that you touch base with me. All of the dates for camps are set. It's actually in the program. Everything's out there. If you need any of that information, you need the letter in the mail, there's going to be another one that comes out in April. Make sure that you see me, drop me an email. You know, I send it out a bunch of different ways, but it's really important to get those things on the calendar. We actually sit down as soon as spring break's over with the music department and figure out when the musical is going to be next year, when every concert is going to take place. And so being on the mailing list is quite important. Being on the email list is quite important. So see me if you didn't get something from me in January. You know, right when we got back from holiday break, I sent something out about mid-January to everybody about next year. I'd also like to recognize we have some important events coming up. So obviously we're leaving on Friday, and we're really excited about that. It's going to make it even extra special that it's supposed to snow up here on Friday. It's supposed to be like, I know snow is a 4-letter word. I know, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's supposed to be 35, 40 degrees on Friday and snow, and we're going to be on our way to sunny Orlando. So we're really looking forward to it. The report times for Friday, 6 o'clock for any volunteers and chaperones. If you volunteer to help out in our departure, please be there at 6. Then our first wave of students is going to come at 6:20. That'll be all of our freshmen and sophomores come at 6:20. And then at 6:40, we have the junior and senior boys. And then at 7 o'clock, junior and senior girls. Okay? Please limit everyone to 1 bag of luggage. That is not an entire armoire of everything that you need. You know, typical luggage that you would take on a plane. That wide. That's about the size of my luggage. Okay? From the floor. Okay? And we have to fit just remember, we have to fit all that underneath the coach, as well as all of the garment bags with the uniforms and all of the marching performance equipment, all the instruments. So there's going to be a lot going on this bus. So help us out and don't send the armoire. I also found out that the bus, it does have chargers for cell phones in it, so that's a good deal. And our students are going to receive a copy of their ticket tomorrow, so they should get on the Disney app and register the ticket with the app. Okay? And hopefully that all goes off smoothly and no one has to call Disney, because I hear that's trouble. All right, so without further ado, we're going to move on to this next selection, which is something that we've kind of made a tradition. This is going to be our 3rd year of doing this. I'd like to make a big shout out to Mr. Black, because he looked at the video that we were doing and kind of went in and made it more professional. And so he did an outstanding job of putting the video together. He's the guy that has the microphone set up, and he's in the back with all of his stuff back there. And I don't know what he does, but every time that he comes to help me, it's usually because I didn't hit a button or something like that. But let's give a shout out to Mr. Black, because he did a lot of work on this next presentation. And a huge part of two of my favorite parts of the day are when I teach 5th and 6th grade band and Mr. Keller comes down and we team teach that class. There's about 115 kids in there, 5th and 6th grade beginning band students. But I love to learn from Mr. Keller. And we've talked a lot about, like, I'll steal things that he does and he steals things that I do. And it is the ultimate collaborative environment. Like, you can't have 115 beginning band students in a room and not get along. And so it's a blessing that I get to work with him every day in 5th and 6th grade band, and it's even more of a blessing this year that I get to see him at the end of the day too with high school band. And so it's given us the opportunity to test the kids and pull them out of the class and work with students in a sectional or give people extra help or like I said, pull them out and do chair seatings with them and have one of us run the band while the other's doing that. So it's awesome that I have him in the class and that we're there working together. It's definitely a team effort. I know that I'm the one that's up here waving my hands around, but this isn't all me. So give it up for Mr. Brian Keller. Okay, so this next thing is definitely complex. Okay, so what you're about to see is music in motion, but not on a field. We are syncing what we are playing up with what we're seeing on the screen. And in order to get it right, everything has to be done a very precise way. And I kind of attune this to, if you've ever seen the movie E.T., at the very end, when the boys are on the bikes trying to escape the government, who knows that they've kidnapped the alien and are going to try to send him back home, the music starts about the last 20 minutes of the movie, and for the last 20 minutes, the music does not stop. And John Williams, this is like God of motion picture soundtrack, he conducted that. And he conducted that in a time when they didn't have click tracks. Nowadays, you'll see everybody with a headset on, and there's a click, and it's supposed to be set in sync to the tempo. John Williams conducts the end of E.T. with the London Philharmonic without a click track, and he's just watching the pictures and making it match up, which is unbelievable because they do it for 20 minutes. So when you see E.T. at the end lift his hand up and his finger glows, there's a triangle ding right there with the xylophone. It's like bling, and every time I see that, I do the band director nerd out thing. I'm like, I gotta watch it again. Because it is amazing to me that 15 minutes of music have gone by and that is timed perfectly at that moment. And so we're going to do something similar with different excerpts from different films that you will recognize, all of them famous in their own right. And this is our tribute to our 2022 Disney trip, soon to be started on March 25th. Please enjoy Disney at the movies. Hey, let's give one more round of applause for that. That was, man. And we do have quite a few soloists on that tune. There are quite a few soloists tonight. But something like that is not possible with, and I know that if we brought them up front, it would be way too loud, so we did have to kind of put them in the back. You can see their names are in the program. But I definitely have to point out that we have 2 drum set players that are just ridiculous, and I'm so lucky. We are so lucky to have 2 that can sit down and just go back and forth and own the tune. And that is Shariah Gales over on stage left. I know his name. I just got to be able to say it. And senior Coy Ostromic on the other side. Stage right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for supporting us, for coming out this evening. We really appreciate it. We're blessed to work with the kind of kids that we do on stage. They do a phenomenal job. Let's have one more round of applause for all of our student musicians and the chorus and the band this evening. Thank you so much, and we'll send back pictures of and video of us performing in the Magic Kingdom on Sunday the 27th at 2:30. And so I guess then there's nothing left to say but see you real soon. Take care.